Welcome everyone for attending today's webinar where we'll explore volunteer impact and whether this is the right volunteer management software solution for your organisation. As I've mentioned, I think everyone has already, but anyone that didn't hear before, if you wouldn't mind just putting yourselves on mute, that would be awesome. Thank you. So I'm your host today, Daniel Green. I am the software sales advisor for Better Impact. I support small to enterprise-sized organisations across Europe, UK, obviously, and Africa, exploring our software solutions. Born and raised in Essex, UK, you can probably guess that already from my accent, having spent most of my career in sales and helping people achieve their goals. My interests include being a busy dad to my 11-year-old son, and I have a keen passion for most sports. So some really useful takeaways that will be included in today's webinar. This will include common problems facing volunteer service teams, a quick program assessment combined of 3 questions, why the right software tools matter. We'll also include a high-level overview of volunteer impact, and stick around towards the end because we'll be offering some resources, a link to obtain your PDU certificate for attending today. So a PDU is a professional development unit, sometimes referred to as a CEC, which is a continued education credit. So the problem versus the solution. Just some of the common problems faced by many organisations running programs where they manage volunteers. As a volunteer engagement professional, there's many problems you may encounter on a day-to-day basis, which can ultimately lead to you feeling dissatisfied. Some of these problems could include too much data entry, using disconnected tools to do your job. Maybe there's not enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers, or find affordable tools leadership will approve. Or it could be insufficient security of your confidential volunteer data. Well, hopefully for many of you, we have the solution. So we're just going to go through some questions. We've got 3 questions. If everyone wouldn't mind just popping their answers into the chat box, it'd be great to get them feedback on your answers on these. So we'll begin with question 1. Which problem resonated with you the most from the last slide? Was it number 1, too much data entry? Number 2, using too many disconnected tools to do your job? Is it number 3, not enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers? Or number 4, affordable tools that leadership will approve? Or is it number 5, insufficient security of your confidential volunteer data? I'll give about 30 seconds if you wouldn't mind just popping your answers in. It'd be great to see what you guys come up with. There we go, already. Number 1, all of them. 2 and 3, yeah, it could be all of them or a couple of them. No, number 3 seems to be quite popular. I know I get that across most of our webinars, not enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers. Excellent, thank you everyone. On to question 2. Now, how are you managing your volunteers currently? Is it number 1, through spreadsheets? Number 2, a volunteer management software already, a VMS? Or is it number 3, something else? And again, if it's number 2 or 3, it'd be great to hear what they are, which is, particularly with a volunteer management solution, what you are currently using. It'd be great to get some feedback. And again, I'll give about 20 seconds on this just to gather your answers. Jane already using us, brilliant to hear. Rosemary's using 3 rings. And we've got 1 and 3. Spreadsheets always seems to be a popular answer on question 2. And it's quite surprising that, yes, everyone is still using spreadsheets, particularly in this day and age, particularly with data security, when it's highly important, let's say. Number 1, excellent. Thank you, everyone. On to question 3. In your opinion, what's most at risk if a change doesn't occur sooner rather than later? Number 1, volunteer turnover and disengagement. Number 2, staff turnover, disengagement. Number 3, is it wasted money? Number 4, damage to orgs or programs' reputation, or is it something else at number 5? 1 and 2, yep, volunteer turnover, staff turnover, and disengagement, obviously. Number 1 wins hands down on question 3. Thank you, everyone. And again, if I could just, any people that have just come on board, latecomers, if you wouldn't mind just muting yourself throughout the webinar, that'd be great. Thank you. So why having the right tools for the job matter? Did you know that more than half of all employees are happy at work because of the software tools they're using? Well, 51.95% says yes. Have any of you ever become dissatisfied at work due to missing or mismatched software? This stats, by the way, comes from our G2's 2019 States of Software Happiness report. So being provided the right tools to perform the job plays into our level of job satisfaction. So when the right tools are not in place, our level of efficiency and effectiveness decreases. This is one factor that can contribute to our unhappiness in our role. So this is quite an alarming stat, I thought. About 1 in every 8 employees has actually quit a job because of mismatched software. So the fact that this is a cited reason for people leaving a job just speaks to how important it is to outfit employees with all the right tools for the job. So always remember that turnover is disruptive to progress and goal attainment. So let's get you working with the tools that make you feel less frustrated and rather more empowered and productive when you do your job. So we want to get you feeling more like this woman here on the right. So after that, it's now time to explore volunteer impacts and how this can, how you can achieve just that. Thank you, everyone. So when you log in with the Better Impact accounts, you're presented with this page. This is what we call the dashboard. And on the dashboard, you can see here we have the status update box here with some circles, circled numbers. These represent the statuses of your volunteers throughout their journey with yourselves in your organisation's programme. And I'll go through these shortly as well. We have pin searches up here on the right side. This is unique to every administrator. I will focus on this a bit later, but it's just about creating shortcuts for lists and searches for particular volunteers. You have an admin news section just underneath the status update box. You can also create and save reports to your dashboard, again, which will be unique to each administrator. These are just badges that Better Impacts do give out to all members, as you can see here. This could be administrator for 2 years, agency 7 years. You could be a member of the Better Impact Buddies, multiple modules, or the Plus account feature that we also have on board. A system message. So it's always good to know that you will be updated with any upgrades, software upgrades and updates that all members can take advantage of. If you want to check out our feedback and reviews, you can see it here. Which is backed up with Trustpilot and G2. And account information, this is just referring to all the information on your account, whether you have a Plus subscription, how many text messages have been sent, account ID, and how long you've been a client with us. So let's focus back up onto the top here and these statuses. So as I mentioned, each status represents the volunteer's journey. So it's good to know that you can onboard and recruit via the software using an application form, which you'll be able to add to your website. And this is where you're going to drive for recruitment. When these applications do come in, and these are all completed applications, they will land in the applicant status here. So this represents a brand new individual to your organisation. However, the decision to move them forward on the screening process is yet to be determined or started yet by your organisation. Next one along is in process. So this status represents individuals who are undergoing the screening process but have yet achieved everything they need to be a fully pledged and active volunteer. By keeping them in this, let's say, holding pattern status, it keeps them separated from the applicant status, so you can update these profiles easy and efficiently. Next one along is accepted. So these represents all volunteers that are active and currently volunteering and involved in your program. The next one along is inactive. I like to call this the leave of absence status. So the inactive status represents everyone that's taken a long leave or short leave of absence. This could be due to just having a break from volunteering. It could be medical, maternity leave, but at some point will be returning back to your program. And you can select whether they do fit the description of a short-term or a long-term inactive status. And lastly, we have archived. So this is everyone that's maybe didn't start, was rejected, dismissed, moved on, resigned, whatever the case may be. So these two are probably more towards the end of the volunteer's journey. You'll also be flagged up on volunteers' birthdays and anniversaries. So that's great to keep on board and communicate with your volunteers, with a happy birthday message, congratulations on anniversaries. And then just underneath these status circles, we have some other fields that will flag up, such as custom field approvals, which you can set permissions on as well, qualifications approvals. So these will flag up as of when a volunteer, an applicant does send in a qualification. You can click on this to approve or reject that. And that's the same with the custom fields. It's good to know that when you can add qualifications into the software, you can give them expiry dates as well. This is great for auditing purposes as well. When you do have qualifications from volunteers that are expiring, it will flag up here, and that will just prompt you as an administrator to reach out to them, particular volunteers, to let them know that, or prompts them to renew their qualifications, as they may not be eligible now moving forward for the roles they're participating in. You've also got expired qualifications as well, hours approvals, which you can set as well when creating an activity, volunteers on the clock. That's one of our time kiosk features where you can set, depending if you do have a device at the place of work, volunteers can, it's kind of like an online punch-in stop card where volunteers can log in and out using their app as well. And then we've got pending sign-ups, which I'll revert back to as well when we cover managing activities. So while I'm on the subject of applications and the status program, I'm actually going to show you right now exactly what an application form looks like. So all we need to do, we'll go onto the configuration icon at the top here. I'm going to scroll down to application form settings. And it's great to know that within the software, you have 3 application forms you can work with. As you can see them at the top of there, we've got volunteer 1, volunteer 2, volunteer 3. And on here, this is where you can set up your application forms, configure them, and you'll be able to see a sample of this before you make it live and add this to your website as well. So you've got your general settings. You will be able to create a new volunteer email message. So when an applicant applies, they'll automatically receive this message in their inbox. This is customized by you. You can add whatever you want, including images, attachments. Got some step 1 settings as well, because there's 2 steps an applicant will go through, and I'll show you that shortly. And then it's just a case of adding in your general availability. We have got a chart you can use by default. However, you can use your own. And the application forms will also be combined of things such as general interests, which are more like want ads, or the areas of interests that volunteers are interested in, along with qualifications and your custom fields as well. And just to show you what this looks like, we're going to go to interactive sample form. And as I said, there's 2 steps an applicant will go through on submitting an application form with yourself. So when you have added the links to your website, from a volunteer's perspective, this is what they'll see. So it's good to know that you can brand your application forms as well. So you can add your banner at the top. This is our version here, example, City Museum. You can add a volunteers policy section or box as well. So if you do have volunteers or applicants that do need to read your policies before moving forward, you can add this here as well. And then I have to determine if I already have a My Impacts page or I need to register with a new one. So basically, the My Impacts page is a volunteer login portal, which allows volunteers to work, let's say, self-sufficiently. They'll be able to sign themselves up for any activities that you as an administrator will create. They'll be able to log their hours and any feedback required as well. So in order for me to go through to the application form, I have to create myself a My Impacts page account. Just like most things online these days, I just have to register with a username and password. And that's step one done. And then I'll go through to the application form, which could look something like this. So there we go. This is, again, all your branding, even down to the color of the tabs. As you can see, we've got orange here. You can customize these to match your company colors as well. And then we're presented with that general availability chart. So volunteers and applicants will be able to pick and choose when they're available. Current volunteer opportunities. These are the general interests. So as this is based on a museum, we've got guest services, boards and committees, transport program, admin, fundraising, and community development. The qualifications as well. So these would be your qualifications, you make them up. And the additional info is what I call the custom fields, which are, I call them your customized data collecting questions. So you can also put them into categories and headers as well. So we've got an About You section here. What is the primary position that you are applying for today? You can manipulate what type of answers you want with these custom fields as well. So these could be things like short text, long text boxes, drop-down menus, as we've got here. You can apply date fields, number fields, and check boxes, and also file uploads as well. So if you do need to gather a CV, a resume, proof of ID, anything that's in a file format, you can choose, and this will give the option for the volunteer to download a file. And here we go, we've got them into categories here. What languages can you speak? And there we go, as you can see, we've applied check boxes, references as well. There we go. You can also make some fields mandatory as well for the applicants to fill in. Emergency contact information. Once I've filled this all in, I will submit the application, and then I'm going to land in that Better Impact account as an applicant. Something else you'll also be able to add to your website is what we call a public page as well. And just give an idea of what this can look like. I'm just going to generate a link. So a public page, kind of like a landing page, is a great way where you could showcase your activities. You'll be able to create a news feed and any social media feeds as well. Again, this would all be branded by your organization, as you can see here, with your banner at the top. Again, you'll be able to customize the color of the tabs. You'll be able to create a news feed here. You'll be able to add your social media feed here as well. It's backed up by Facebook and Twitter. And then you can showcase your general interests. You can add images to all these as well. There we go. So we've got the administration, boards and committees. And then you can also advertise the actual activities on your public page as well. And then right at the bottom, About Us is what we call your mission statement as well. This is something you'll be able to add on your public page. And then for me to apply as a volunteer, I'm just going to select or click on fill in application. And again, that takes me to the step 1 and step 2 settings of filling out that application form. Excellent. Now, I'm actually going to show you how to create an activity. So we're still on the configuration icon, by the way. Every time you click on any of these main icons at the top, they're going to bring down all these subcategories here on the left-hand side. So I'm going to choose manage activities next. So here's some we've created already. So, and again, you'll be able to put these into categories. We've got an administration category, boards and committees, guest services, online training modules, and so on. So when you want to create a new activity, all you need to do is click on this little green box in the top left here. You can create a new category, but I'm just going to show you a new activity. Now, the basic info tab here, this is where you just literally put in the basic info. You're going to give this activity a name. I'm just going to say test. You can add this to a category if needs be. Again, these are the ones we've created. Which application form this belongs to as well. And then we have some checkboxes here. Do you want to make this activity active? Allow volunteers to log hours for this activity. You can auto log hours for this activity. That's great. You may have some volunteers that may not use the My Impact page so much to log their hours. You can auto log this as well. Just be aware that if you do select the auto log hours, it does bypass any volunteers be able to leave feedback. You can allow groups to sign up for this activity, and you can add volunteers. Check this box to allow volunteers to add themselves to the backup list. And then you can give this a pre-assigned and post-assigned description. Again, you can add images into this as well. Once you've created that first tab, we'll move over to schedule. So now you want to give this test activity a schedule. You have got some kind of timing patterns you can choose at the top here, these green tabs. We've got recurring pattern, disjointed, one time only, which is more for events, pretty much same as seasonal, or you can have no schedule at all. So volunteers can sign up as of when they're free and ready. You can use templates as well. You can create shift templates. You can save them for further use as well, but I'm going to start from scratch here. So I'm just going to give this test activity, I'm going to keep it on recurring pattern. I'm going to give it 3 shifts. So I'm going to say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So to select the day, put in the time. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple, 10 till 2. And then all you need to do is select add shift for the next day. So let's choose Wednesday, 10 till 2. And again, add the shift for the Friday. Excuse me. 10 till 2. And there we go. It's taken me about 10 seconds to create 3 shifts. Is this activity every week, fortnight, 3 weeks, monthly, 5 weeks? You choose. I'm going to keep it on every week. And there we go. If you are going to use this for future use, you can save this as a template. And all you need to do is give this a start and an end date. And then you want to move along to visibility and automation. So you've got a few options here on who is actually going to be able to see this activity that you've created. So the first one is only volunteers who are signed up, assigned, or on the backup list. Visible to all volunteers who are accepted and qualified. So for example, if this activity needs a DBS background check and I haven't got that qualification, it won't even be visible for me to sign up from my Impact page. Or do I want to make it public where I can add this to my public page? You've also got the self-scheduling as well. So if you have this checked, that means volunteers can sign up and they're assigned to that activity. However, it could be that you may have a few activities that you really do need to cherry pick who signs up for this activity. So if you were to uncheck that, that means as a volunteer, I can sign up for the activity, but it would just need your approval as an administrator from your end for me to be fully assigned to that activity. And if you remember me showing you on the dashboard under pending signups, that's where that will show there as well. And then all you need to do is give this activity a minimum and maximum amounts of volunteers. Just keep it 1 to, let's say, 2. And then a couple of features here, allow volunteers to remove themselves from a confirmed assignment of up to, let's say, 72 hours. So what this means is is that if I've gone past the 72-hour window before the shift begins, it won't allow me to disassign myself from activity. So I'll just have to reach out to one of the administrators as soon as possible to let you know why I can't make it. And hopefully that gives you enough time to get that activity filled back in. And then giving it a cut-off time for the sign up for when this begins. Let's just say 24 hours. And there we go. Does this activity need any qualifications? This would all be your qualifications here. These are just the ones we created, obviously. Let's just say needed a background check, passed. And then feedback fields. So as I mentioned, you will be able to create feedback fields. This is a great way to gather this feedback from your volunteers. You know, how was their experience? It could be for expense purposes as well. If it's a particular driving opportunity or activity and you want to collect mileage, for example. So you create the feedback fields from scratch and then you add them to this particular activity and then save. And then you've created your activity here. Doesn't matter if you make any mistakes or you need to edit it. You can hover over any of the grey boxes here to edit or delete it as well. So moving on, when you do want to create your custom fields, your qualifications, general interests, feedback fields, all that will be here as well on the configuration side here. So there's your general interests, profile customization. This is your custom fields. So this is where you do create the custom fields. This all starts off blank in your account, so you add them as you go. As you see there, this is everything that was showcased on the application form. Qualifications. And then you also have the feedback fields all here as well. Excellent. So I'm now going to go back up the top here, and we're going to focus on these main icons up here in the top left. So just by clicking on this house symbol, by the way, it does take you back to the dashboard. So we're going to click on the people icon next. Click on here, and again, as you can see, brings everything down on the left-hand side, all the subcategories. I'm just going to do a basic search for you now. So all you need to do is click on search. You're then presented with this kind of filtering page where you can select which status of volunteers you'd like to search on. I'm just going to say accepted. Let's just say you want to do a quick search of all volunteers that have a particular qualification. So as I said, I've selected accepted. I'm then going to click on add search criteria. Click on here, you're then presented with this drop-down menu. And as I mentioned, this is everything you can search on, basically. Loads of fields here. But as I mentioned, I'm going to search for a qualification. Click on qualifications. I'm actually going to choose a driver's license. There we go. So again, this would all be your list of all your qualifications that pop up here. Do you have a driver's license? Is equal to yes. All you need to do, select add and go. And there we go. It's brought up a list of 32 people that have the driver's license. If you need to save this search, you can do so. Just click here. Give it a name, drivers, and what you can do is pin that search, save, and what you've done is you've created that shortcut here on your pin searches, which, as I mentioned before, is unique to the administrator who created this search. So that's a great way. If they are search or groups of people that you generally communicate with or search for, you can save them here, and this updates in real time as well. And I'll show you another example of this on the communications icon. So again, we'll click on the communicate icon at the top here. There's three main methods of communication throughout the software. That's email, texting, and you can do a mail out. You could do this in mass if you do monthly newsletters, for example. You could do this in filtered groups. I'll show you that shortly. Or you could just communicate to individuals as well. So I'm just going to show you what it's like to send an email. So click on send email from the left-hand side. Again, similar page here. You just choose the status of the volunteers. You can choose them all if you want to. I am just going to choose accepted. Now, if you just press search, that's just going to bring up a list of all the accepted volunteers. So again, if you want to do an email in mass, you can do so. But while I'm on this, I'm going to show you another search criteria. So again, click the add search criteria box. I'm actually going to show you general availability. So let's say I want to send an email to all volunteers that give their hours at weekends only. I'm going to select general availability. And there we go, presented with that general availability chart. I'm going to select Saturday and Sunday, add go, and there we go. The search results brings up 29 people. And here we go. This is where you can send an email. What's really a cool feature here as well is that you can create email templates as well. So if it is something like a monthly newsletter, for example, or you just want to send out a reminder to everyone to log their hours before the end of the week, you can create whatever you need to on here. So this is what we've created. Here's our monthly newsletter. As you can see, you will be able to add attachments, links, images into these emails as well. You've got some checkboxes at the bottom here. Do you want to read receipt? Do you want to be CC'd in? And which module this compares to? Obviously, this would be volunteer. Once you have all that, you can send an email and it will go out to them 29 people. Obviously, this could be something. What a great example of this will be if there is an opportunity's just landed and it is for weekends only. Create that search, bish bash bosh, add in the search or an email template, and it will go out to them 29 people. And again, you will be able to save these as well. So again, if this is a group of people you generally communicate with quite often, put in there, pin search, save, and again, that's been added to your dashboard here. So whether it's, and you can see there little symbols where it is an email search, just a general search, or even a text search as well. Just a couple of things to update you on the texting. It is a one-way communication only. So you will be able to text volunteers, but they won't be able to reply. And secondly, for GDPR purposes, all volunteers will have the option if they want to opt in to receive the SMS services as well. So if you are going to send out a bulk text, I'll probably say back that up with an email as well. So going back to the main icons at the top here, we're going to move over to this calendar symbol next, the assign. So click on here. So this is a great feature. If you do want to check out how all your activities are coming along, which ones probably need attention, which ones I think, you know, they've got the minimum amount of volunteers confirmed for activity. This is where you can check this all out. So you've got some options here from an unscheduled list, a scheduled list, calendar, pending sign-up list, or from a volunteer profile. I'm actually going to show you from the calendar. We click on here, you can see the monthly calendars. You can see lots of red, lots of blue. What these represent is determined here. So the red means vacant, orange signed up, green assigned, and blue confirmed as well. So we're going to click on one of these days. Let's click on Tuesday the 5th. That looks quite red. So once you hover over the day, you can click here. And it does bring up the list of the activities taking place on that day, which is Tuesday, the 5th of September. So as you can see there, there's lots of reds that probably need some attention. Haven't got to worry about blue tick. Minimum amount of volunteers has been confirmed. So you want to pay attention to the driver activity. Click on here. And this is where, again, you can filter through all your applicants, sorry, not your applicants, your volunteers. Obviously, you want accepted. Maybe a qualified, you'll be able to set all these different filters how you want to. I'm just going to keep it on accepted and must be qualified with no overlapping assignment. Press search. Here we go. This is a great way for you to add volunteers or assign volunteers to this driver activity. You can do this to individuals, or you can check multiple boxes to assign in bulk as well. Now, if we move along to the top here to reports, it's great to know that you can report on pretty much everything, all data that you've tracked and recorded. So click on reports. Again, brings up everything here on the left-hand side. I'll just show you a couple of reports here. I'm going to show you hours by volunteer to begin with. So once we click on hours by volunteer, there we go. It's great to know as well, you can report over any date period as well. As you can see there, it could be, excuse me, week to date, last week. You could do quarter, last year, year to date. I'm actually going to choose year to date. All you need to do, once you selected your date range, click on view reports. And there we go. It brings up a list of all the volunteers' hours and their entries, with the volunteer with the most hours at the top, the bottom with the least at the bottom. And there we go. It shows you the total hours, number of volunteers, and the average per volunteer as well. You can also export this information to Excel and CSV as well. I'll also show you another one here. There's all different types of reports you can create within the Better Impact account. Hours trend brings up a bar graph report. You can choose any start date. Choose view report. And there we go. You can see number of volunteers, hours volunteered, and average per volunteer as well. And what I'll show you next is, and I think this is a cool feature, is I call it, we call it the personal profile raw data reports, just here at the bottom under general reports. So this is basically a great way to create your own bespoke reports. So anything you need to report on, pick and choose. You can do this with personal profile raw data. So again, I'm going to choose the accepted status. I'm going to press search. And you can pretty much pick and choose what you want to report on and put a report of. And again, you'll be able to export this information to Excel and CSV. Now, these are all selected by default, but it does just unselect them all, but it does keep the first and last name in there under the basic columns. Again, you can choose whatever you want to. You then have custom fields, so you'll be able to pick and choose which custom fields you like to put a report on. I'm just going to choose a couple of categories along with the qualifications, age range, background check, driver's license, general interests, general availability. I'm just going to choose Monday through to Friday. You can also do hours logged as well. And then once you've created what you'd like to report on, you just press view profiles. And there we go. We've got all that information. You just scroll from left to right to see all them fields. Excellent. So next, I'm actually going to show you what the volunteer profile looks like. So as I mentioned, when applicants, they land into your account, each and every volunteer does have a profile. When you want to see that profile or you want to search for a particular volunteer, you're going to select up here the find a person, and then in this search box, type in the name of that volunteer. I'm going to choose Veronica. She's our demo volunteer. Soon as you start to type the name, the system will start to match that, so you haven't got to type in the full name all the time. There she is, Veronica Smith. Click here and this will take you to her profile. And here we go. You can see on the main tab dashboard here, you can see there's a profile picture of Veronica, a quick snapshot of her contact information, history, most recent contributions, next shift, along with contributions by month in a bar graph format, also showcasing a pie chart showing the total hours by activity. And another cool feature is badges. You can add badges to your volunteer profiles as well. This could be based on milestones such as anniversaries, hours they've contributed, and qualifications as well. So they're great signs for, to show your volunteers signs of awards and recognition as well. Curious of time, so I'm going to quickly go through these tabs here, but you've got communications. So here, if you just want to communicate with Veronica and Veronica only, you can do it here. You can send an email, you can send a text message, you can send a personal message as well, which will show up on Veronica's homepage of a My Impact page account. Email history. So this will record all the outgoing emails from the volunteer, the date, the subject, and from which administrator. Text message history, and also a note log as well. So if you do need to put any notes towards this particular volunteer, you can put it here. Only the admin see this. Veronica will not be able to see these notes that you make on her profile. If we go across, you can assign Veronica to any of the activities. So it's good to know that you can do pretty much everything on a volunteer's behalf if you know they're not going to be using the My Impact page so much. So you can assign them to activities. You can even log their hours and feedback on their behalf as well. You can also check out their schedule. You can see this in a list or a calendar format as well. And if Veronica, she doesn't use the My Impact page, you can always download this, print it off, send it off to Veronica so she has something tangible by hand if she wants to put it on the fridge, for example. You can see Veronica's hours. You can report on just Veronica if needs be. And you'll also have a committees feature as well. So committees is a great way for a group of volunteers to email each other. If Veronica wants to be a part of that, obviously with her consent, you can add her to any committees that you would create here as well on the committees tab. And then just underneath on these sub tabs here, you can see Veronica's contact information. You can see her custom fields, and custom fields as well. They're a great way to collect any sort of data from a volunteer, not particularly just for the application forms, but throughout the whole course of, them being a part of your program. It's just another great way to collect more data from these volunteers. Qualifications. General interests. General availability. Excuse me. And lastly, miscellaneous tab. On here as well, you can change the status of a volunteer. You can do that by the dashboard as well by clicking on the numbered circles. But if you do know that Veronica, for example, is taking a leave of absence, you can check here to make her inactive. Excellent. I think that's it for the admin side, which I'm hopefully going to show you now is what it actually looks like on the My Impact page. So bear with me. I'm just going to swap screens. Let me share my screen again. Someone just give me a quick thumbs up that they can see this okay. Excellent. So this is the My Impact page. So this is the volunteer login portal. So as you can see, I'm using Veronica again. So I've logged in as Veronica. This is obviously a desktop version. It's good to know that the My Impact page is also app-based as well. So your volunteers can download it for free on any Android or iPhone device, use it on the go. But here, I'm on the home page as Veronica. There's my badges. You're going to see a lot of similar information we saw from the volunteer profile on the admin portal. But there's Veronica's badges. We have an image gallery. This is backed up with Flickr feed. It's a bit of an old school social media, but it's there for you to utilize. There's that personal message. So if you did want to thank Veronica personally for coming in to helping out, last minute, you can send a personal message from her profile. It will land here on her homepage. You can also create a news feed as well. So separate to the public page I showed previously, you can create a separate news feed that will show up on all the volunteers' My Impact page here as well. And again, you can add your mission statement at the bottom here. On the right-hand side, again, you can add your social media feed. And at the bottom here, we have a resource called a document library, which is a great place for you as an admin to store documents such as, policies, waiver forms. But you will have the option as well if you do want to share these with your volunteers. And if you do make that option to share, they will be visible here in the files for your volunteers to access. Now, if we go across here, as a volunteer, I would like to see what opportunities I want to contribute towards. I can see this in a list or a calendar format. I'll quickly show you both versions. So there we go. There's the activities in their categories. And I'll show you what this looks like on the calendar version. So there we go. So I'm Veronica. I'd like to sign up for the information booth that's taking place on the 31st. Just click on the desired activity. There's the information that was provided in the description of the activity. And then I just click here to sign up. If I go back up to the top, I can see my own schedule. So again, if I am using my impacts page, I'll be able to see this, excuse me, on a list or a calendar format as well. And again, I will be able to print this off, download and print this off as well. If I do want to put this on my fridge or just have it to hand. There we go. This tab here, hours, this is where the volunteer will actually log their hours and any feedback required. So in order to do this, let's say I've just come back from an activity. I like to log my hours. Let's just choose the information booth attendant, select the activity, put in the date I volunteered along with the hours and minutes. And then as you can see, if you have added feedback fields to this activity, it will pop up here and prompt you to lay any feedback for this activity. There we go. We've got long text box, drop down menu, because with feedback fields, you can have short text, long text boxes, drop down menus, and number fields as well. And then once I've logged my hours and feedback, I can save here, and this all feeds back into the administration portal as well. Reports, this is just for me, you know, as Veronica, to see my own report of what I've done over the past year, as in a bar graph. I can hover over every particular month to see the hours I've contributed. If I want to contact an administrator, I can select the contact tab, choose which administrator, and then send an email. And then just to finish up on the My Profile tab, this is where I can see my own contact information, my additional info, which is all the custom fields that I've filled in, the qualifications, and training as well. So we have a resource, cool feature called the e-learning module. So you, as an administrator, you will be able to create online learning content for your volunteers to take. As you can see, I'll just show you a quick example of one, which I'll be able to take from here, by the way. And you can add qualifications to these as well, and you will be notified as of when a volunteer completes an e-learning module. So this one was based on the 30-second hand wash just before COVID kicked in. And then at the end, you can set your volunteers a little test, a little quiz with, you know, multi-selection answers. You can even set a passing score to be whatever you want as well. And then once I've taken that as a volunteer, I can submit and it will come up with the results. Now back to the main screen. All right. So now that you've seen a high-level view of what volunteer impact can offer, I'll also share with you our story and why people love Better Impact. So Better Impact actually started by fluke. Our CEO, Tony's passion project of building a web-based volunteer management software solution for a residential hospice he founded actually birthed the beginnings of a global We're Here to Help company. We're 20 years old now, or 20 plus years. We're a small company, but we do have a global impact. We have offices here in the UK, Canada, USA, and Australia, but we do have customers all around the globe. We specialize in volunteer management software which is Volunteer Impact, which I've been showing you today. But we are also providers of donor, client, and member solutions that also integrate with Volunteer Impact. And lastly, we're here to help company. So today we are focused on if Volunteer Impact is the right solution for your organisation. However, you are invited to join the many upcoming webinar events taking place throughout the year, including programs whereby volunteers engage one-to-one with clients. So on screen are just some of the examples that organisations may have volunteers engaging with. You can see here hospices, social services, pet therapy, tutor mentor programs as well. So check out our events page. I'm actually going to pop this in the chat as well. So we've got them carrying out all throughout the year. You can go to our website to see this as well. I will pop it in the chat. There we go. We normally have events taking place once every month as well. And not just here in the UK region, across the globe as well. So wrapping up today, some emails coming your way. As I mentioned at the start, we have this webinar recording, so this will be sent to you after the webinar's taken place, along with a link to watch a comprehensive demo video of Volunteer Impact and a link to book some time with me to chat about your software's needs on a one-to-one basis as well. As I promised everyone as well, I'm going to add in this link now into the chat box for your professional development units, the PDU. I would say open this up now because you won't have access to this once the webinar is finished. There we go. That's in the chat box now. So, yeah, feel free to click on that link and grab yourself that PDU certificate. And lastly, yeah, I'd just like to say a big thanks to everyone in attendance. And now, I know there's quite a few of you on here and we're short of time, but I'm open to some questions. So feel free to take yourself off mute or put it in the chat box. If any of your questions may take some time in answering, again, feel free to book in that one-to-one with me as well. There'll be a link there, emailed to you or from the website as well, and I'll be happy to chat with you one-on-one. But right now, yeah, I'm open to any questions.
Daniel, I
Yes.
put it in the chat anyway, but I take it whenever emails are sent out through the portal that they're all blind copied and nobody gets to see anybody else's emails and things like that.
No, absolutely. It will go directly to that recipient only.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Tasha, where can we find a recording of the session after the meeting is finished? Our marketing team will email this to you. This could be within 24 hours. However, I can send this to you directly once I get the recording myself if you need it a bit sooner rather than later. Jane Hodge, thanks, Jane. Would just like to say Better Impact is a great system, has made our like so much easier. And I'm guessing like must mean life. Therein, hi, can the system generate automatic reminder email shifts, e.g. 48 hours before a volunteer's shift? So there isn't a way for the system to generate automatic reminder emails. However, something you can do with your volunteers, they can sync their diaries to their email accounts as well, which can also give them reminders as well. So that's another cool feature I probably missed out on the My Impact page. Again, if you have got any other outstanding questions, feel free to ping me an email or you can set up the one-to-one. I've put the link in the chat there as well. It's what we call a discovery call. So it's a one-to-one 15-20 minute chat and we can find out more about your needs for a new VMS. You're welcome, Simon. Castad, Lynn. Hope that has been good for you today. On that note, yeah, again, thanks for everyone attending today. And hopefully we'll speak soon. And yeah, watch out for them emails. They should be coming shortly for you.